we doing? I hope you're coping in this heat okay. If you hear the rustling, it's because I've got a bit of a cloth to mop my brow because I am sweating like the proverbials. Anyway, bit of an update stroke doing video. You'll notice in the picture on the start of this video of what I've done that's immediate work. Bit of soft soldering brass half round to steel. I don't know why I had this thought process that wouldn't work. I don't know why, because I've seen it work many times over, and it was my own thought process of, well, you know, it's going to have a weak joint because it's only soft solder, but it's actually very strong. First time I've having a go at this. I filmed it as I did it. My clip-on microphone ran out halfway through, or just at the start. So what I'm going to do with this video, I'll show you some bits that have come through, some bits I've been working on, and then I'm going to go through that soft soldering and how I did it, how I approached it. I had some tips from Adam Crow at Crow Fittings. He gave me some tips on my soldering technique because we had to and froed a few messages, and he says that I'm getting things too hot the way I'm doing it, and I should dial it back a bit on the heat and try and feed the solder into it, and I'll probably get a cleaner joint with using less solder, which was fair enough. It didn't work for me in some cases and it did in other bits. The soft soldering, it worked for me, so that was a plus. Now you can see in that picture I've done the beading and I've painted it up, put it in the back of the cab. I've still got the seats to put in that will square everything up. They're on order with Ed. I've just placed my order for those. But what bits have come through, what bits I've been working on, I've been working on, there's this little bit first. There's a little square that's got a hole straight through it, and that square isn't anything to do with that front foot plating. This is to do with that reverser pedestal, and it sits like that on the front of it. Now the reverser pedestal is here, or part of it. I've partly soldered it. This is going to sit in the front there like so, if I can balance it. It's going to sit in there like so, and there's an upright piece that fits in here underneath it. It's got a little half round cut out of it for that little square support piece. There's a bolt for something, and I don't know what yet. There's a bolt for something. It was on the works drawing, so I copied it. So I've put the hole in ready for whatever that may be, and then there's a piece to solder, silver solder on the bottom of here. That needs rectifying because, as you can see there, it's in its raw format at the minute, out of pickle. There's a blob of solder there because the solder didn't run properly. So what I've got to do is I've got to obviously clean that off. I'm going to run some watered down solder into the joint under here, and then try and feed some more solder in. I think I'm going to have to change my nozzle size because the nozzle was too big and it kind of put heat everywhere, which is good, but it put heat everywhere, which is also bad. So I'm going to clean that up and then drop some more solder in that to get that somewhere near. Then I'm going to put the underside onto it. So that hasn't quite gone to plan, but easily rectified. The other little bit that I've been doing, this is one of those pieces, the front foot plating, again straight out of pickle. Now you might be able to see there, it's bowed like a banana. A lot of heat went into that to do that joint across the front, which is for the valance, as it were, that bit there. But you can see it's got a right bow in it, right in the middle. So that's going to take some straightening out, but I've also got to sweat it at this end because a gap appeared right on that tail end, and the only reason I can think that that's happened is I didn't iron wire this bit in. I could have fed some iron wire through that bolt hole there and just tied that bit up for soldering, and I didn't, and sure enough it popped out of the tab, and now I've got to rectify it. So that's something I've got to sort out. and obviously square it up and flatten it out again. So some other bits that come through this last week. There's a bag of stuff there. There's some bits for the engine, and then there's some bits for my garden railway. This long piece here, there's 2 of those. They're slide plates for me turnouts that I'm building. 7 1/4 turnouts. So some slide plates there and some more there. And I use the P&P Railways plastic chairs, screw down ones. But I make the slide plates that slide underneath it, and then it allows the rail to sit on top, obviously for the turnout to work. That's nothing class 2 related, but I thought I'd show you anyway. So now I'm going to do this video for you. I'm going to overdub it actually, and talk through what I've done, and then we'll reconvene afterwards, and you can obviously see the finished article which I showed in that picture to start off with. I'm also going to show a picture that Adam sent me of I think it's his 9F cab, and when we was talking about soldering and stuff like that, it's amazing the soldering that he's done on it. A lot of soft soldering that he's done, and it spurred me on to doing what I did with that half round beading. So anyway, let me just sort this out. Oh dear, too hot for me. I take my cap off to all those running engines in this weather, for public or for fun, especially the guys down at the White House Railway in Norfolk. Those guys seem to be having fun this weekend, even though it's pushing on 40 degrees. I think you're crackers, but wish I could have been there playing trains. I suppose when you're moving, there's a bit of a breeze blowing past you, so you're not burning up. But certainly if you're sat in a station without a canopy, oh no thank you. Anyway, enough of me waffling on. Let's get that bit of soft soldering done. Okay, you can hear this okay. I'm just going to anneal a bit of brass. It's brass half round. I'm just warming it through. Now, I don't know if this is the correct technique that people do. This is just the way I do it. I'm just warming it up till it's gone to a bit of like a cherry red or a dull red. What it's doing is just sending it from it's a bit in a hard state at the moment. It's been kind of what they would call work hardened, because it's been wound in a coil. And it's kind of hard to work when it's like that, and I need to bend this half round on its edge into a 90 degree. With it being quite long, it's hard to do, to get it equal hot all the way through. It's getting it to a reddish tinge. Getting a bit of a false reading for it because it's under a LED light. See until it gets a bit of a glow to it, and then move along. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dunk it in some water. Just dunked it in some water there to obviously to cool it down. It kind of completes the annealing process. So you can see there, gone back to its brass colour since it's been dunked in water, and hopefully it'll be sufficiently soft now for me to work. Okay, so we've got the half round beading all annealed. I'm going to bend it around this radius. I'm marking it at the minute with my thumb to make sure I've got enough overhang to the actual steel that I'm doing. I'm not doing it dead to size, I'm actually overhanging it. The round bar you can see in the vise, now I've got to bend it on its edge. So the bar in the vise, I'm going to bend it around and try and not let it twist if I can. but it's quite difficult to do. You could probably put a bit of a groove in around and push it into a groove and bend it. It would hold it upright and stop it twisting. But with it being annealed, it's a lot softer. When you've got half round beading like this, especially brass, it goes very soft once it's been annealed. So I'm pushing one bit against the vise to try and stop it twisting. It's going to twist, you can't stop it, but you're trying to prevent it twisting too badly. And all I'm doing really is bending it a little bit at a time, checking the twist, checking the bend, and just keep doing that. Excuse me. So I'm just checking where the bend is. You see it starts to twist, so grab a pair of pliers and just give it a tweak, being careful not to grab them too hard with the pliers because it is soft and you'll mark the surface of the brass. So just giving it a little twist, just pulling it back into squareness, a little tweak here and there. Again, annealed brass is easy to work, but the more you fiddle with it, the more you bugger about with it, the more it's going to work harden, and you'll probably have to go for another anneal on it and start again and work it a bit more. So just bending the radius a bit more now and just checking it, tweaking it. So started to twist there, so just nip that, twist it in my fingers, just pull it where I need to pull it, work it where I need to work it, as it were, and then start again. A bit more of a tweak to get a bit more radius on it. If you keep checking it, as opposed to just going and bending it once, keep checking it. I haven't checked it against the plate yet because I'm nowhere near 90 degrees. I'm just trying to get that 90 degrees bent into it. Now I'm going to check it off the actual plate itself to see how close I'm getting to that radius. One thing I noticed when I was doing this radius, I didn't take into account the thickness of the brass. So instead of being like I've got, I think it was a 5/8 bar in the vise there that I'm pulling it around, I should have really gone in with a piece of 3/8 bar and pulled the 1/8 brass around that, because the inside radius is obviously tighter than the outer radius, and I didn't take that into account at all. So here I'm just checking it again, checking the radius, giving it a tweak because I thought I'd overbent it, and what I wasn't thinking was actually it's not right because you've got the wrong diameter bar in the vice, Gavin. And in a second it'll dawn on me that I've got the wrong size bar in there, but I keep tweaking it and messing about with it and fart-arsing about with it, and it's still not dawned on me yet. I'm still checking it and going, oh, I'm getting close, I'm getting close. And any second now I'm going to take that out, that piece of bar out of the vise, put in a smaller diameter piece of bar, tweak it again. I think I put the next bit I put in is about half inch round. So there we go, I've just worked it out. Obviously articulating to the camera what I was doing and talking it through, not realising my microphone had completely packed in. So out comes that bit of bar, find another piece of bar of a smaller diameter, plop that in. Yeah, it's a bit of half inch round. Start tweaking it on the half inch round, which obviously starts giving me a closer radius to what I need. Still, it's still quite soft, but it is starting to harden up, starting to work harden. But it is getting closer now. So I'm still buggering about, still looking at this radius. I've got it pretty close now at this point. But one thing that you won't see in a second is me swapping that 1/2 inch round bar for a bit of 3/8 bar, because I do it actually off camera to finish the last bit off. But I'm checking it and checking it and checking it, and I'm going, oh, I'm pretty close, just need to tweak down the bottom, because I'd slightly bent it at the bottom. So I'll straighten it all up and then sort out that where it's tried to roll over on its edge. So I just pull it round with a pair of pliers. I think what's left of the softness of it, the annealed state of it, is about done in this bit of brass now. You can tell by how I'm straining with the pliers to pull that twist out of it. Yeah, definitely see that. So taking the twist out of it again, just saying that when it's in its raw format like that in a coil, it'd be really hard to twist, really hard to work. You can see there it's just springing back into a coil shape, so trying to bend that on its edge would be near, well, it wouldn't be impossible, but it would be a lot harder to do. So that's why we anneal it first. So I've got some tweaks to do with my fingers there, just to flatten it back out, and then just flattening and straightening. And because the straight part of it there is still in its soft state, it's not been work hardened at that end, but it has on that half round, on that bend. So I'm just checking it there. Well, yeah, that's pretty close. Getting happier with that, but it's still, to my eye, still not right. So I'll give it another tweak. As I say, I should have, realistically at this point, I should have re-annealed it and done it again, tweaked it again. But I got it pretty close on that first go, on that one heat, as it were. But I would actually recommend, if you're doing this type of thing, like I've got my cab windows to do, I would recommend, if you've got to anneal it more than once, then anneal it more than once. It's not a race. You don't have to do the job in one go. So, make sure it's still soft, you can still work it. I don't know why I was trying to rush it. I didn't need to rush it. I could have just gone, right, okay, bend it and anneal it, bend it, anneal it, bend it, anneal it. If I have to do multiple heats on it to do it, it wouldn't have hurt it. All it's done is just taken a little bit longer to do. So I'm just working the edge there to make sure I'm at 90 degrees to the sides and to the top, which I am. Pinching it with my fingers, checking it the other way up, tweaking that top bit. You can see how it's springing back, so it definitely needs re-annealing, and I should have done that then, but I didn't. But if you look at it, it's not quite right. I might be saying at the time it looked right, but it weren't quite right. So back in, more checking and messing about with it, checking it again off it, because I'm thinking, oh, I've done it, I've cracked it, and I haven't cracked it at all. All I've done is bent it on the slightly wrong diameter bar, but I'm currently trying to convince myself I've done it right, but I haven't, so I'll do it off camera. So the next bit now is soft soldering. So I've fluxed it all up around there, and I've put all them, you see them crocodile clips all the way around. That is holding that half round beading to the steel. The steel's been all emery papered round and then washed off with some thinners to get it all nice and clean. And I've also cleaned up the brass half round. So you notice there's no solder laid in it. The solder is here. And what I've done is this was a tip from Adam, I've hammered the solder flat. So instead of it being round, it's actually in flat format. And it should, all being well, give me a cleaner run, cleaner joint. So I'm warming up the middle of the plate first, because again, that was another tip from Adam, that instead of localizing the heat, warm everything up, get it up to temperature better. So I think, because it wasn't a bad job the first time round, but it could have been better, and I've worked out why, and you'll see in a second when the torch comes back round to the front and I start warming it at this end again, or when I start getting it up to temperature ready for the solder to run, you'll see the flame is actually behind. From where we're looking at it now, the flame is actually behind the half round, it's not on the edge of it. So I'm warming up along that edge. You can see the steel's kind of starting to change colour a little bit. It's getting a bit of heat through it, and I'm thinking, right, the solder's starting to bubble, so I must be getting near. So I'm going to attempt to dab some in. Not working. Yeah, so I'm clearly not hot enough. But if you look at the flame, I'm not going to be hot enough, and that's because I'm stood exactly in front of it. I'm not seeing where that flame is. If I'd have pulled that flame a bit more towards the crocodile clip, like there, it would have got the beading and the steel hotter, and as soon as I touched it with the solder, it would have ran. So I'm still not hot enough, because I'm effectively heating too far away. I'm not heating where I need it. So I didn't know this at the time, and that's probably why I got not a bad solder, but it wasn't the cleanest. It could have been cleaner, because I was warming up further away. If I'd have pulled that flame a little bit closer to the edge, the brass would have warmed up at the same time as the steel. You can see the smoke that's coming off it. Oh, it's not, well, yes, I suppose it is smoke. There's a bit of vapour from the flux starting to bubble. So it's starting to get it where I need it. There we go. We're getting some solder starting to go. The dead giveaway obviously is the smoke coming off it as it runs. So I'm literally, it's flashing along there. Soft solder, one thing you'll notice with it, it flashes along when it's up to temperature. Wowee, it's quick moving, and you can pretty much chase it along. Almost similar to what I do when I silver solder. I can chase the silver solder along. And what I'm trying to do, because it's hard where them crocodile clips are, they overhang a little bit. The nose of them hangs over the half round brass. But obviously you need a bit more heat there, because there's a crocodile clip holding the brass down. So it's trying to get a good run of solder where that crocodile clip is, or the alligator clips, however you want to say it, whatever works. Trying to get the solder to run in that spot. You can just see there the flux is bubbling up the top. You see that didn't run there. You see it bubbled up, or it balled. The solder went into little balls, and then it started to run. And that's because I hadn't got hot enough. It balled together in one spot where it was hot, and didn't run where the flux went. So I'm just going along the last bits now on this edge, getting it where I want to. And one thing I found with soft soldering, if you get too hot, you burn your flux off and it goes black. And if you look at the piece of it nearest the camera, it's almost done that. It's gone black, and that's because I've gone too hot and localised the flame and whatnot. You can, what I've heard, you can go up on the top and use the torch to push the solder along. But that was it done. There's a little bit of ball of solder that I needed to clean up right just past the corner, or just past that radius at the top that I've been putting the beading on. Just checking to see if it's run everywhere there. Obviously you can't touch it because it's all red hot. So what you have to do with it now, you have to dunk it in some water, get some fairy liquid on it and a Scotch-Brite, and give it a right good clean with some hot water, and it gets rid of the flux off it. So there we go. First ever go. Half round beading on the top edge. First time silver soldering, soft soldering brass to steel. Not turned out too bad, I don't think. Happy day. Okay, so soft soldering. I hope you got the idea or gist of what I was doing there. When I was saying about that, I called it washed out solder. It's not washed out solder, it's washed out flux. It'll be a lot thinner than what I normally use. I won't use any toothpaste comparisons for that for that, like I did in a previous video. But anyway, bit odd that one. One last thing I'll show you before we bugger off, and that was this little bit of foot plating I'd done, and it's the step. You can see there's a double radius in it there. It's got the valance put on it there. I've just got to do a little bit of filing at the bottom because I left it overlong on purpose. Take these tabs off here, and then that's another bit all good to go. That's for this right hand side of the engine. I'll put a picture on now up in this corner of what I took with that just placed in on the engine. Still a little bit to do on that one, but that picture gives you an idea. And then last of all, got to put this picture on of this cab of Adam Crow's. Thank you, Adam. Hats off to you, mate, for showing me and talking me through stuff. What I love about model engineering is the majority of people, I won't say everybody, the majority of people are there to help each other out. And Adam, he went a bit defensive to begin with, I think, because he might, a lot of people think you're going to take it the wrong way, but it's constructive criticism. It's not a dig at your work or anything. It's giving you a tip of another way to approach something or another way to try something. So thank you, Adam. I do appreciate it. So that's it for this time round. I haven't got anything else left to show you. What I was going to say, can't remember what I was going to say. Thank you, the new followers, those that are liking and subscribing and sharing. I appreciate it a lot. Hopefully it won't be as long for the next video, although this one's not been too bad for me, to be honest. Lots to crack on with, lots to get on with. More bits coming from Ed, so I've got to show them off as they arrive. We'll keep plodding on. One thing I have found out before I disappear, Chris messaged me from the Hengist open day. He did a final count of numbers, and I think it was surpassed 700 odd visitors. So that was a big thumbs up for that. That went really well. He's given me the date for next year, April the 10th, I think it is, he said. So for those that want to see my engine, it's going to be on display. If you want to see Hengist, the latest update on that, that'll be there, obviously. And that's going to be at Diamond Engineering, that used to be CTL Seal. So that'll be obviously worth coming. So put it in your diaries now. You've heard it here first. 10th of April next year, open day, Diamond Engineering in Sheffield. Come and have a chat. Come and see what's going on. So I'll sign off for now, and I'll see you all hopefully in a week's time at the most. But you never know. Ta-ra for now.